It's supposed to be near impossible to find your soulmate. That one person among all the billions and billions of people on planet Earth who you are completely meant for, who compliments you and supports you in all the ways other people can only approximate, who is perfect for you as you are perfect for them. No matter what connections are forged or what sparks fly between people, the only certain sign of your soulmate is their soul mark. Small, strange tattoos borne by most. Whether a plant, a bolt, or a bear, whether easily hidden or highly visible, the soul mark is unique to each person and their soulmate, and no one else. It's no wonder only a small few are ever lucky enough to find their mirror image. The rest can only dare to wonder and hope and dream. Dream against all odds, against all the grains of sand on Earth's shores, and all the distant stars above, that one day they will find the one person that completes them. For most, it will never happen. But that doesn't stop a great many people from dreaming anyways. Because what is the value of odds, probability, and logic when compared to the power of a dream? Today, though, none of that is supposed to matter, because today is the first day of the new school year, and today, Lucy Cheng is about to be late. Facing the row of shabby sinks and grimy mirrors, Lucy dabs a glob of liquid concealer onto her soul mark, the tiny blue star on her cheek, like she does every morning. She rubs her fingers in quick circles, spreading the concealer out until she can't even see a speck of blue. From the door, Ana Herrera, Lucy's best friend, watches her with raised eyebrows.
How are you not freaking out yet? We have 3 minutes before the first bell rings. You always try to get to class like 10 minutes early.
It's the first day of school. If I'm late, I can just say I couldn't find my classroom.
You're secretly freaking out, aren't you?
Okay, you got me. I was trying not to this year, but it's already not working. Let's go.
Stop walking so fast. We're not gonna be late.
Well, the bus just got to school 5 minutes later than it usually does, and the consider wasn't cooperating, and...
Dude, what are you doing? Lucy, hello?
Lucy's mouth falls open, but no answer comes out. Frozen in place, she stares at an unfamiliar girl by the door of her classroom. The girl's short, wavy hair is as dark as a raven's feather, her tan skin reminding Lucy of the brown bark of a youthful maple tree. When the girl's friend makes a joke, she throws her head back, not a care in the world. As cheesy as it is, Lucy doesn't dare to blink. If she does, her leaping heart warns her she might be dragged out of whatever dream she had suddenly entered, and the girl before her would disappear.
This has to be my imagination. Or maybe I'm stuck in a rom-com. There's no way that gorgeous girl is real.
Oh, that's the new student. Her name is Kayla Danvers, I think. And it looks like she's gonna be in your class.
Well, Anna, I guess I should go. See you at lunch?
Yep. Try not to confess your undying love to the new girl before I see you again.
Lucy rolls her eyes, but still waves goodbye to her best friend. As she enters her class, Lucy pointedly avoids looking at the new girl, Kayla, on her way to the front of the room. It's a classic spot for a successful student like her, not to mention the ideal place to keep that brilliant girl out of sight and out of mind. It took exactly 3.5 seconds before the temptation of sneaking a glimpse at Kayla grew too strong. She twists around in her seat, seeing the new girl at the back of the classroom. Kayla is chatting with the guy next to her like they're old friends, so comfortable and so at ease, as she picks at her chipped nail polish. Immediately, Lucy swivels around facing the whiteboard. Her teacher is writing his name there in faded blue marker, but Lucy's thoughts are anywhere but in front of her.
Did someone notice? Did someone see me looking at Kayla?
She blushes at the thought. Of course, everyone around her is too wrapped up in their own business and preparations to pay any attention to Lucy, but she doesn't know that.
Welcome to astronomy class, everybody. I'm Mr. Zimmerman. I hope everyone had a nice, relaxing summer break. I'm so excited to have you all here. We'll be starting this year by reviewing the syllabus, which I'm going to pass around right now. Now, I'm sure that's what all your teachers will be doing today. But I bet none of them will be signing you a project.
Oh my, literally.
Frick off.
Hold on. It's not that bad, I promise you. We're just going to start on it next week, so not right now. But I could say it's a partner project. So you can work with one, and only one, other person. You don't have to choose your partner today, but you might not want to pick your best friend if you know you're going to goof off instead of doing work. Especially since you and your partner are getting the same grade. But more on that later. For now, I'd like to talk a little bit about myself and the class.
As Mr. Zimmerman launches into a long-winded speech about the sheer majesty of the cosmos and the overwhelming vastness of the universe, Lucy gives the syllabus on her desk a once-over, all words and rules she's seen 100 times before. She looks up, trying her best to pay attention to Zimmerman's droning, looks back down, and finally chances another look at Kayla. That may have been a mistake. Much to Lucy's alarm, Kayla just happened to be looking directly at her. Time slows as their eyes meet, and Lucy's pulse jumps. Then, Lucy whips her head away, staring down at the syllabus as if it'll stop her heart from pounding so loud she can barely hear Zimmerman.
She was looking at me. She was watching me. No, she was just taking a look around the classroom. She's new here. She's curious. Her eyes just happened to land on mine. When I turn around, that's it. But maybe, just maybe she might be feeling... No, it's not possible. I haven't said anything to her yet. She doesn't even know my name. She couldn't be... No, I'm not going to give myself false hope on the first day back. There's a whole year left before that.
Looking up at Mr. Zimmerman, Lucy does her best to concentrate for the rest of class, even though she doesn't process half the words flying from his mouth. Thankfully, when the bell to conclude class finally rings, Kayla heads off in a different direction than Lucy, saving her from figuring out how to approach her. That doesn't stop Lucy from thinking about her, though. Far from it. Every time her teachers introduce themselves, Lucy catches herself thinking about Kayla's bright eyes or wide smile. She scans the cafeteria for Kayla at lunch, wondering where she is, all while deflecting Anna's jests about how she fell in love with the new girl. In fact, the only thing that takes her mind off Kayla all day...
Lucy!
...is her family.
I asked you how your day was, Lucy.
Glancing up from her half-eaten bowl of rice and broccoli, Lucy looks at her grandparents, either wholly disinterested or pretending to be, as they carefully eat their dinners. Her father, looking over with a mixture of sternness and sympathy. Her younger sister, watching unashamedly with wide, prying eyes. And her mother.
It was okay. I think I can handle most of my classes this year.
She brings a hand up to her cheek, rubbing her soul mark as if to check that there is no more concealer left.
I wish my soul mark wasn't so prominent. I know that probably sounds crazy. Lots of people have soulmates hidden on their chest, on their legs. They'd kill to have their soulmates find them just by looking at their face, but that's the last thing I want. God, why can't my parents just accept me for who I am?
Good. You have to remember, junior year is the most important year. You need to focus on getting good grades so the colleges will be impressed with you. That way you can get a stable, well-paying job and be happy.
Yeah, I will.
Lucy Cheng, you worked so hard these past few years. Now is not the time to stop. If anything, you need to work even harder this year. Do you understand?
Yes, Mom, of course.
Don't let me down.
With those 4 words, reality hit Lucy like a bag of bricks to the back of the head. Sure, she's a dumb teenager who spent most of the day daydreaming about a girl she hadn't known existed 24 hours ago. And if she tried, she could allow herself, just for a moment, to simply exist as a normal teenage girl whose greatest worry was searching for a soulmate she would probably never find. But then, Lucy looks at her family at the dinner table, 3 generations, all expecting her to live up to standards, no matter what she might wish. She puts aside all the dangerous thoughts gathering in her head like storm clouds, briefly dispels all her dreams that lit up her mind like the night sky, and stretches a tense smile across her face.
Mom, when have I ever let you down?
The rest of the week comes quickly, and every step of the way, Lucy does, to put it very lightly, a truly awful job of hiding her curiosity about Kayla. Somehow, with each passing day, she contrives new ways to take her interest from glaringly obvious to embarrassingly so. Wednesday. She and Ana are walking through the halls like they have a million times over.
Okay, so in last night's Battles in the Galaxy, the Corte finally returned after 2 years. It was shocking and also really exciting because they always mess with Captain Cedar in the most ridiculous ways.
Lucy, you know I haven't seen this show. I barely know who Captain Cedar is. What even is a QWERTY?
It's that race of immortal alien sock puppet things that showed up 2 seasons ago. They've been hinted at since, but they haven't actually reappeared until now. I know it sounds silly, but they're actually a really clever metaphor for empathy and...
Lucy sees Kayla walking by. Kayla grins brightly and laughs that stunning laugh. Lucy briefly forgets the basic skill of human language.
Well, it's very beautiful. Yeah, yes.
Lucy. Lucy, look out!
Trying to walk, talk, and look at Kayla all at the same time, Lucy quickly finds such a feat to be impossible. Given the choice, she drops the first two in favor of the latter. It does not end well. Thursday. Lucy is sitting in class, trying to take notes on Mr. Zimmerman's lecture.
As one of the very first astronomical instruments ever invented, the importance of the astrolabe cannot be understated. Its name is derived from the Greek astron, star, lambanine, to take. Star taker, astrolabe, because it takes the positions of the stars. That's not the only thing it can do, but it's the big one. Now we can see how this works if you'll just look up here.
But Lucy is not looking up there. Lucy is looking across the classroom at Kayla out of the corner of her eye. Lucy is doodling Kayla's name in the corner of her notebook like a lovesick teenager. Lucy is a lovesick teenager. Friday. Lucy and Ana are ostensibly having lunch together. Ana stabs at her meatloaf grumpily, while Lucy nods along absent-mindedly.
I can't believe Mrs. Thompson would do this to us. I mean, 2 essays in the first week of school? That's insane. And you haven't heard a word I just said because you've been staring at Kayla like the hopeless lesbian you are.
What? I wasn't. I didn't. I'm not staring at Kayla. I don't know what you're talking about, Anna.
We both know what I'm talking about. Staring at Kayla won't get you any closer to her. You have to actually talk to her before you two can start making out in the bathroom stalls. And really, you're terrible at hiding the fact that you have a giant crush on Kayla, so stop denying it. If anything, that only makes it more obvious.
I don't... Okay, fine. So maybe I have a little bit of a crush on her, but it doesn't matter. It'll go away in like a week or 2.
Lucy, we've been best friends since the 4th grade, okay? And in all the, 6 years since then, I've seen you at your most breathtaking best and most wince-worthy worst.
Where are you going with this?
In all that time, I've never seen you fall for somebody this hard. Not even Danielle. Hey, maybe Kayla's your soulmate.
Shh. Your voice down. If somebody hears you mention soulmates, they'll go insane. People around here make such a big deal about that.
Fine, but you have to promise me you'll at least talk to her soon. I can't stand your constant yearning. It makes me sick.
Okay, I guess I can try.
That's the spirit.
I guess I can try. Well, sooner or later. I'll get around to it. Eventually. I don't have the social skills to have a conversation with Kayla right now, and I'm not going to talk myself into it. I need to think of something nice to say, work up the confidence to talk to her, and then sweep her off her feet.
Lucy spends most of her weekend thinking of things to say, in between doing her homework and staying out of her parents' way.
Maybe I'll tell her her hair is like a bouquet of flowers. Is that weird? Her eyes remind me of summer sunrises, delicious maple syrup layered over fresh pancakes. Her smile's like a warm hug, a thick blanket on a cold day. And her laugh is, well, it's a dream. She's a dream.
By Monday, she finally arrives at the perfect speech to greet Kayla with. It's the perfect mix of flattering and funny, showing Kayla how much she likes her without seeming too forward. It's charming, it's witty, and it would absolutely work on Lucy herself. And it vanishes the moment Mr. Zimmerman begins class.
Now, if you all remember, we have a project to get started on.
I hate you!
Come on. I actually think some of you will really like this assignment. I'm asking you to give me a report on constellations. You need to include accurate research and notes from your own observations of the constellations. And at the end, you're going to present your findings to the class. I'll explain more in a moment. But why don't you go ahead and choose your partners first? I'll give you guys 5 minutes. Pick your partners wisely.
Immediately, the room erupts into chaos as people rush to their friends to partner up. Lucy glances around the room, searching for someone she knows, but the few she did know had already paired up, and the last thing she wants to do is work with someone who can't pull their own weight. Sure enough, as the crowd thins, a certain boy with a reputation for leeching off others begins to head towards her. Lucy panics. So naturally, she does the first thing that comes to mind, and calls out to the first person that comes to mind.
Hey, Kayla, do you want to be partners?
I'd love to.
Lucy would never quite be sure just why Kayla had said yes. It must have been the wild desperation in her eyes. Regardless, it keeps the slacker away from her, and the boy wanders off to be the bane of someone else's grade. It's only after a couple of moments that Lucy actually realizes what she's done, and her relief quickly turns back to an even greater panic. Whatever she felt at the prospect of carrying a deadbeat, it's nothing next to what she's facing now.
Nice to meet you, by the way. How do you know my name?
Well, my friend told me, your name because I asked about you because I didn't recognize you because, you're new. I'm Lucy. Great job, you're barely keeping it together. You have no chance with her at all, loser. Quick, what were you going to say? What were you going to say?
Then Kayla smiles, a sparkle in her eyes so bright that Lucy thinks she's witnessing a supernova. Instantly, whatever vestige of her plan Lucy might have remembered vanishes for good. There is only the dream, and the dream is now.
Well, Lucy, I'm glad to hear I'm already popular.
Oh, yeah. People like you a lot. I mean, I see you making people laugh like all the time.
You've seen me around and you haven't said anything to me? Well, that's gonna change. You're gonna have to get used to hearing the sound of my voice, partner. You'll probably be sick of hearing me talk by the end of this project.
Oh, wow, I can't wait.
Me too, Lucy. Me too.
Oh god, I'm going to have to fight for my life every second I'm around her, aren't I?
It's later in the day, and Lucy glances down at her biology worksheet. She hasn't even completed half the front page in the past half hour, but perhaps that's what she gets by thinking she could do work and talk with Ana.
She's your project partner? That's awesome, Lucy. You can finally stop stalking Kayla and start talking to her. I can't wait to attend your guys' wedding.
First of all, we're not going to get married. We just officially met today. Second of all, I don't know if she's my soulmate. We can't make assumptions. Remember what happened with that nail?
It wasn't your fault.
Definitely was my fault. At least partially. I don't know what I was thinking.
It seemed like she liked you back. You couldn't have known that she wasn't your soulmate unless you asked her.
But I shouldn't have even thought about asking her in the first place. Even if she was my soulmate, I don't know how I would tell my parents.
That doesn't mean you were in the wrong for trying. You would have figured it out. So don't be too hard on yourself. Don't let one bad experience stop you from finding the person you're meant to be with for the rest of your life. Teddy, Finn, that's just our Theo. Stop barking.
Your uncle's at your place?
Yeah, he's just picking up some stuff. But back to Kayla. You should definitely ask her out by the end of the project. I mean, it's already a great excuse for you two to hang out. If she sees even a fraction of how much you love her, she can't say no.
Oh, no.
Seriously, you should. I won't be able to take it if you keep everything you're feeling for her inside. I don't think you'll be able to either.
Oh, no, I really... My mom just came home. I gotta go. Talk to you tomorrow.
Okay, but...
Hanging up swiftly, Lucy grabs her pencil and drops her head, staring down at her homework. She can't even do a single bit of it, though. She's too busy listening to her mother, shuffling ever closer to her room. Her unlocked bedroom door creaks open, and Lucy grips her pencil tight. She begins to scribble down words just to write something, just to look like she was studying, just to present the illusion that she was focused and obedient and good. She doesn't exhale until she hears her mother leave. As if Ana's pestering wasn't enough, she insists on picking up right where she left off at lunch the next day. It's enough to make Lucy consider awarding Ana the title of most persistent friend ever. But in all honesty, she probably already had it.
Tell me what's going on with the project. What's the game plan? You're totally still watching Kayla from across the cafeteria, right?
She is indeed, until, seemingly out of nowhere, Kayla happens to glance over at her. Embarrassed, Lucy ducks her head down, remembering how Kayla had caught her staring on the first day of high school.
That was bad enough. The last thing I need is for my project partner, crush, and potential, well, Kayla, to think I'm a creep or a weirdo.
Unfortunately, if she thinks she could avoid Kayla's gaze, she thinks wrong. Kayla stands up, walking towards her with an easy smile.
Wait, she's coming over now. She's totally coming over to talk to you.
No! Hi Kayla, what's up?
Hey, Lucy. So, about the research Mr. Zimmerman wanted us to do, outside of class, I was wondering if maybe I could come over to your house tomorrow afternoon. I hear the library is closed until Friday.
Would it be possible for us to do it at your place? I just sometimes like my parents come home early and it's kind of awkward, you know.
I'm so sorry, but there's some construction going on in my house, so I can't really bring people home. Can we please do it over there?
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, sure. You can come over.
Great. Can you text me your address? Here, let me give you my number.
She snatches an untouched napkin from Anna's lunch tray, pulling a Sharpie from her jeans and scribbling down her number. She hands Lucy the napkin, then waves goodbye.
I'll see you then, Lucy. I'm looking forward to it.
Lucy can't even muster an answer as Kayla heads back to her table. There's an aura of pride around her as she goes, as if she knows Lucy is staring at her, mouth wide open.
Lucy, Kayla literally just gave you her number and winked at you. She's totally into you. I love your chances right now. Oh my god, this is like the greatest thing ever.
Even Anna's loud squealing into Lucy's ear couldn't ruin the moment. Lucy grips the napkin with all her heart and soul as if trying to make sure it's real. And it is. It really, truly is. She's well aware that she's smiling like an idiot. But just this one time, Lucy lets herself indulge in wonder and hopes and dreams.
Maybe Anna's right. Maybe I do have a chance after all. I have no chance. I can't do this. I have no chance at all.
Lucy settles on this only hours later as she helps her mother wash dishes after dinner. It's one of the only times she actually has to spend one-on-one with her, and if that wasn't enough for most days, today she knows she has to give her mother a heads up about Kayla. It's no wonder, then, that she hasn't said a word all night.
It's not like I hate my parents or anything. It's exactly the opposite. I love them more than anyone in the world. They give up everything to come here and give my sister and me all the opportunities we have now. Everything I have because of them. It's just that sometimes I can't spend 5 minutes with them without an argument erupting. It doesn't make sense sometimes. I'll never forget the time Mom threw a giant fit when I was whistling while taking out the trash because only men can whistle. What kind of logic's that? If that's how she reacts to whistling, how is she going to take Kayla?
Lucy finds no answers as the stack of plates behind her slowly shrinks. The window is slowly closing. At least now her mother is right here. So, with both of her eyes firmly on the last plate of the night, a classic tactic to avoid eye contact with her mother, Lucy takes the plunge.
Mom, one of my classmates coming over tomorrow, so we can do research for a project. Is that okay?
If it's for school, that's okay. Are you sure it's only for school?
Yeah, Mom, it's only for the project. I'm not making any new friends. I'm too busy studying all the time. Remember?
Too late, Lucy realizes what she just said. Who knew spending half of her waking hours at school would make her so afraid? With every step she takes out of the kitchen, Lucy can feel her mother staring into her back, praying she won't drag her into another drawn-out argument. Fortunately, though, her mother decides to spare her that night, and she makes it back to her bedroom without incident.
God, I can't invite someone over without being reminded of how my life will never be normal. I can't talk to my mother about why Kayla was so important to me. I probably will never be able to. I can't tell Kayla about my parents either. It would just cause too much trouble. But I have to do what I have to do. There's no other way.
Lucy spends the night thoroughly cleaning her room, preparing for Kayla to come over, and hoping some semblance of organization will distract from her own awkwardness. That wasn't even her idea. It was Anna's.
Anything to help you court your potential soulmate, Lucy.
But even after a deep clean of her room, even after disposing of several flat and standardized testing packets tucked into the corner of her bookshelf, Lucy still fretfully reorders her books as soon as she gets home from school the next day. She needs to make things perfect, for the perfect girl, and finishes rearranging and wiping down everything just in time. Lucy sprints out of her room to reach the front door before her grandparents and yanks the door open. There stands Kayla on the welcome mat, hugging her notebooks and folders. Lucy opens the door a little wider, gesturing for her to enter.
Come in. Please take off your shoes. Asian household rules.
She notices her guest, if that isn't too much of an understatement, is staring at her grandparents, who sit pensively on the couch reading Chinese newspapers.
And, those are my grandparents. They live with us.
Oh, okay. Hi.
She waves with one hand and gets a toothy smile from Lucy's grandmother for her efforts. With Kayla's attention off her for the moment, excitement and anxiety all boiling together into a right mess of emotion, Lucy doesn't even think twice before she does what she does next. She grabs Kayla's hand and leads her to her room.
Come on, Kayla. This way.
It's only when the two of them arrive that Lucy realizes she's holding Kayla's hand. She turns tomato red and quickly lets go, but Kayla doesn't even seem to register it. She seems too busy admiring her room.
Wow, you're so organized. My room is a total mess. Like, I have clothes all over my bedroom floor.
Yeah, that's me. Pretty organized. You know, it's nice to keep my workspace neat or whatever so I can study better. Anyway, here's my laptop. I was thinking I can look up things and read off of what I find. Yeah, and we can take notes.
Sounds great to me. Let's get started.
Holding back a sigh of relief, Lucy joins Kayla on the floor, sitting across from her in a crisscross applesauce. As Lucy reads information about stars from her laptop, Kayla jots down notes in her notebook, and the two fall into an oddly familiar rhythm, almost as if they had done this 1,000 times in their past lives.
Honestly, Cassiopeia is such a cool name for a constellation and just, like, in general. Like, even though it's hard to spell, it's such a pretty name. I wish my dad didn't like the name Kayla so much.
Well, I like the name Kayla. I think a constellation called Kayla would be really cool.
Aw, thanks. But I think it's weird that my dad named me after one of his coworkers.
Wait, really? Are you kidding me?
I'm dead serious. I'm actually named after a technician in the doctor's office my dad runs. It's okay. You can laugh. Listen, at least my name isn't Smoggerlabot, okay?
Smoggerlabot? Like from the show Battles in the Galaxy? You watched that show too?
Obviously, it's like one of the best shows ever.
Have you seen last week's episode?
I haven't yet, but I heard it's really good.
Okay, I won't say anything, but you did hear right. It's amazing. So, did you see the episode from a week before?
Yeah, it was strange, but it wasn't bad. That whole planet of sinkholes was definitely something new, at least. Although, if I'm being honest, I only liked that episode because Tara was the main character, and I love Tara. She's my favorite character in the entire series.
Eee, no way, me too! And it's really cool that it came that she's a lesbian. Should I have not said that? Does she think I'm gay now? Why did I say that? Why?
Yeah, I think it's cool too. And I have to say, it's really nice where they took her character arc this season. I've read too many essays breaking down the symbolism of her scene in the lab with Ames. Did you pick up on any of that?
Their conversation goes on for the rest of the day, and any of the considerable nervousness that so filled Lucy at first is slowly relieved. By the end of their study session, even without realizing it, she's completely relaxed and comfortable. She can go on talking to Kayla for hours on end. But now the light is fading from Lucy's window, day fading to night.
It's getting pretty late. I should probably head home for dinner. Sorry, Lucy.
Oh, that's okay. I'll show you out. So, when do you want to keep working on the project?
Tomorrow I'm probably gonna be busy, but we could do it Friday? The library should be open by then, too.
Oh, great. We can do it there then. Do you think we'll be finished by then?
Oh, I don't know. Zimmerman's asking for kind of a lot of details. I guess we could if we tried, but why rush? Is that your mom pulling up in the driveway?
Oh, yeah, sorry. She wasn't supposed to be home this early. Hi, Mom!
Lucy, is this your friend? Hi, Lucy. I'm Kayla. Nice to meet you. I'm just leaving. Lucy and I got a lot of work done today.
Is that so? Well, very nice to meet you, Kayla. I hope you can come to our house again sometime.
I would love to. See you at school tomorrow, Lucy.
I like her. She seems nice and studious. I like her too.
From that point on, Lucy finds it much easier to reach out to Kayla. When she sees Kayla in the halls now, she doesn't stare anymore. Well, she still does, but now she does more than stare.
Hi, Kayla.
Lucy, hi. See you later today.
In the mornings, Kayla begins to stop by Lucy's desk before Mr. Zimmerman starts his astronomy lectures. It starts small
Hey, Lucy, how are you doing?
and gradually grows.
Can you believe he's still giving us homework even with the project? It's crazy, really. Do you want to work on it together later?
Until they both forget they didn't even know each other half a month ago.
Lucy, I finally got around to seeing that episodes of Battles in the Galaxy, and, oh god, all I have to say is, what? Are you kidding me?
Every single time, no matter what Kayla talks to her about, Lucy finds herself practically floating from class to class for the rest of the day out of sheer joy. It's everything she could ever dream of.
But how do I know it'll last? I don't. That's just wishful thinking. I can't get bogged down by that. Whatever we have, it rests on astronomy project. Once it's over, will she even talk to me anymore? She has so many friends already, so many people she fits with so easily. Why would she keep hanging out with me? I have to go make the most of what I have. I can't let her go. Not while she's still here.
So Lucy tries everything she can to spend as much time as possible with Kayla.
I'm going to the library with Kayla after school today, Mom.
Again?
Yes, again, we still need to double check our research and make the report as well written as we can. It's really important we do well on this project.
Fine. Just don't waste your time.
And Lucy doesn't. She and Kayla tell each other old stories about themselves, show each other funny videos and elaborate essays on the internet, and giggle at each other's jokes in hushed voices behind the library bookshelves. This does not go unnoticed by the librarians, who shoot them angry looks every few minutes. But if they're trying to get the two girls to be quiet, they, unfortunately, had exactly the opposite effect.
Sorry. I'm not sorry.
Lucy never knew what it was to feel invincible, but in those stolen moments she thinks she understands. The two of them don't limit themselves to the library either. Lucy and Kayla spend whole afternoons on the hill by the school's track, lying on the soft, crisp grass, staring up at the sky. Kayla stretches out fully, brainstorming ideas for the report, gesturing vividly with her hands as she speaks, and Lucy sits next to her, dutifully scribbling down every word Kayla says. But even as she does this, Lucy watches Kayla. The way the sky seems so much brighter sparkling in her eyes, the way her lips form into familiar words she can hear even before she says them, the way the setting sun makes her glow with the kind of radiance reserved for angels in stained glass windows. Most of all, Lucy loves Kayla's poetic imagination. It perfectly complements a creativity Lucy didn't even know she had until she started talking to Kayla about the mysteries of space, decidedly unorthodox ways they can present the report, and fan theories from Battles in the Galaxy. Even Ana never understood her as well as Kayla does. So she watches Kayla ramble on passionately about the stars as if they were a problem millennia philosophers had yet to solve. And she knows there's nothing she'd rather be doing. Where else was she going to find someone who spoke about the power and beauty of the cosmos with such reverence, yet still describes stars and constellations as
Barreling towards us with the speed of a hippopotamus hopped up on coke.
Yeah, you're right about us romanticizing constellations a little too much. But it's so incredible that of all the stars in the galaxy and all of the universe, a few out there happen to align in just the right way to seem like something recognizable to us. We look up to the skies and see a little part of our world reflected. So of course we're fascinated with them. Of course we ask ourselves, what is that? Of course we ask ourselves, why? After all, curiosity is just human nature.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Wow, I think you might be my soulmate.
I don't know if you want to make that joke. The soulmate searchers are going to lose it if they hear you joking like that, Kayla.
Yeah, those guys take the whole soulmate thing too seriously. I don't understand why you would devote your entire life to searching for someone you don't know at all, when you could be happy with what you already have.
Of course I'd be happy with what I already have. I have everything I need right here. Even if we weren't soulmates, I couldn't be happier to spend all the time in the world with you, Kayla. I wish I could tell you that. I wish you knew. But saying that, it would be a betrayal of my parents. I can't do that. I'm sure you'd understand. I mean, it's only a matter of time before they start saying something about how much time I'm spending with you.
Only a matter of time indeed. When Lucy comes home that evening with a bright smile on her face instead of the grouchy frown that usually stuck after a long day of school, her parents know instantly something is wrong. They are no fools. Without even a word said between them, they make their plan to corner Lucy. They sit down at the dinner table that night, Lucy's mother serving bowls of tofu to all. They wait. They eat. They ask their daughters how their day was. The moment Lucy's sister finishes her dinner and jets off to her room, before Lucy can escape, they strike.
Lucy, this project you've been working on with that Kayla girl, when will you be finished? It's been taking up quite a bit of time, hasn't it?
Oh, we'll be done soon. It's just the first project of the year, so I really want to get a good grade and start off strong.
I know, but you've been spending too much time with Kayla. You shouldn't focus too much on just one project, especially something like astronomy. It doesn't matter that much. Just finish it and start focusing on other classes.
I am studying for other classes, Mom. I'm just working really hard on this project. Stop bothering me. I have this all under control, okay?
How dare you speak to me like that? You don't tell me what to do. You show me some respect. I work so hard to provide for you and your sister. I cook for you every day. I pick you up from school every day. I do all this and you aren't willing to work hard in school? What kind of daughter are you? Your entire future depends on how well you do this year. You do well this year and you can go to a good college, get a well-paying job, and live a good life. If you don't, you won't have anything. You'll be sad and lonely forever. You won't have any family. No one will love you. Is that what you want? What a waste of my time. Listen to me. You better start taking this seriously. I only want what's best for you, Lucy.
Okay. Good talk. See you tomorrow morning.
You'll be sad and lonely forever. No one will love you. And if you aren't willing to work hard in school, you won't have anything. What kind of daughter are you?
Lucy doesn't sleep so well that night. The next morning isn't much better either. If she usually feels like she's been hit by a truck after an argument with her parents, that day it's more like a building was dropped on her. She stumbles through the morning. Even Kayla's chat with her in astronomy doesn't brighten her day as much as it usually did. Some small part of her wants to tell Kayla everything that had happened to her the night before, but she keeps herself quiet.
I don't want to just whine at her, bother her like that. But she wouldn't be bothered, would she? She would listen to me, try to help me, because that's who Kayla is. No, no, she didn't need to know. She makes everything easier.
If she can't tell Kayla how she's feeling though, at least she has Ana.
Can't believe your mom lashed out at you again like that.
It was a long time coming. Not a week goes by without my parents reminding me that my only purpose as their child is to be successful after everything they've risked for me. I feel so selfish. There's so much I want to do but they would never let me do, but I don't want to just throw everything away my parents gave me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. But you're your own person, Lucy. You're not selfish for wanting to be that person, for wanting more. They shouldn't control everything in your life. Oh, speaking of, your lover is coming over.
Ana, don't call her fat! Hey, Kayla! What's up?
Hey, I was wondering if you want to meet up this Sunday so we can do the observation part of the project. Do you know any cool places around town where we can see the stars?
Yeah, actually. There's this really pretty field near my place. When it gets late, you can see so many stars up there. We're just going to get lost looking at them.
Perfect. See you then.
You're so gone for her.
Thankfully, the rest of the week passes by without further incident. Lucy manages to banish her mother's words to the farthest corner of her mind, freeing herself to spend most of her time looking forward to her meeting with Kayla. She dreams about how, well, romantic is the only way to describe what she imagines it'll be like. Just her, Kayla, and the stars. Now it's Sunday. and Lucy spent the whole morning trying to study for her statistics test, back all cramped and pained. As noon approaches, she reaches for her mug, but finds all her tea drained. She should probably do something about that. Staring out the window, she's met with clear blue skies, far as the eye can see.
Tonight is going to be perfect.
Her gaze drifts, and she sees her mother sitting at the dining table, sleeves rolled up as she skillfully folds wontons. A memory hits her, a presentation she had to do on preparing a Spanish dish, and a sudden realization that she couldn't even do that for something so familiar as wontons.
I never did try to learn, did I? I have those every Sunday for lunch, and I have no idea how to make them.
As she's waiting for her mug to fill, watching her mother's machine-like precision, a thought occurs to her, but not in her own voice.
You should ask her to show you. She's right there. Haven't you always wanted to know? Go on. It's something new and familiar all at once. It could be fun.
Hi, Mom. Can you teach me how to fold a hanjan?
Of course. I can show you how to make the filling later, but I made it already today, so all you have to do is this.
Taking her time, Lucy's mother grabs a spoonful of filling, plopping it in the center of the wonton wrapper. She dips her fingers in a small bowl of watery starch and lines the edges of the wrapper, folds it in half to seal the filling, and folds the end of the triangle-shaped wrapper together to finish the Chinese gold yuan ball.
See? Not too hard. Now you try.
Lucy attempts to repeat the motions. The first couple of tries are unsuccessful, the wrapper almost immediately falling apart.
No, Lucy, you need to add more water, like this. Watch.
That seems to do the trick, and Lucy finally manages to put a complete wonton together. She places it on the plate next to the mound her mother had made, and her mother beams at her proudly. Lucy doesn't realize it, but she smiles back a little too.
Maybe I disagree with her sometimes, but at the end of the day, she cares about me. She really does.
The two of them fold wontons for the next 10 minutes while watching a Chinese singing competition on YouTube on TV. It makes Lucy feel like she had all the way back in elementary school when she, her sister, and her parents would watch Voice of China every Friday night. Maybe it wasn't the biggest thing in the world, but Lucy did find solace in these connections to her culture, and some comfort in the thought that that had always been with her, and would always be.
Come eat the huangdong, Jie maid.
Thank you for showing me that, Mom.
You're welcome. I'm so proud of you. I can't wait for you to teach your husband and kids how to make huangdong one day.
The brief moment of respite shatters. Is she willing to give up all of it? The Chinese singing competitions, her mother's warm approval, the delicious huangdong, just for the sake of trying to live her truth, trying to live out some dream, some fantasy? Can she trade what she's had all her life for the love she's had so short a time? She could only wish she knew. But that evening, if there's more to know in the world, Lucy almost doesn't want to. She and Kayla fall so easily into conversation as they walk into the field. It's like they've known each other all their lives. They have folders tucked under their arms, of course, ready to take notes on their observations of the stars, but the only stars they're observing en route are each other. As they arrive, they stop and look around. No one's there. They have the place to themselves. So they make their way to the center of the field, and then Kayla's hand brushes across Lucy's, and her heart skips a beat. God, Anna was right. Lucy is so whipped for Kayla. Abruptly, Kayla stops walking, drops to the ground, and stretches out on the grass like it was some sort of deluxe mattress.
You're giving me a funny look, Lucy. Problem?
No problem.
Lucy follows suit, lying down on the field, feeling the soft grass against her back, the wind cooling her face, and seeing Kayla's impossibly endearing smirk. Instantly, all the tensions in her back from that morning ease away. It occurs to Lucy that she'd been right earlier. It is perfect.
So, now that it's just the two of us, you have any secrets to tell? Do you have a secret bread club? Is your name actually Tom Cruise?
No, my name is actually Lucy. My mom wanted to call me Lucy because Lucy Liu was the first Asian American actress she saw after she and my dad immigrated to America. It's a big deal for her, seeing someone who looks like her in Hollywood movies.
Wait, that's so sweet.
Kayla twists her head and their eyes meet, both soft with emotion as they share this secret moment. There's something between them now, something that maybe always has been, that is so precious and so fragile, and for the first time, Lucy can tell Kayla's realizing it too. But she can't say anything. She mustn't say anything. Even the slightest touch could break this, whatever was between them. and Lucy can't bear the thought of never talking to Kayla again.
Now, do you have any secrets you want to tell me?
Yeah, I can think of a few.
Kayla breaks her gaze, looking up at the stars, almost like she's searching for something that she didn't know she needed to look for until now. Lucy tries her best to do the same, searching for the cosmic coincidences of constellations, but her head is all down to earth in the moment.
Remember how I mentioned my dad runs a doctor's office?
Yeah, I do. That was one of the first things you ever told me about yourself. What kind of doctor did you say he was again?
That's the thing. He's not a doctor, strictly speaking. He's actually the CEO of this big medical company. He has a lot of influence. He's the only reason I'm not afraid to get into trouble. If the cops ever try to mess with me, my dad will just make whatever I did go away.
Wow, he seems powerful.
Well, yeah, he still sucks as a dad, though. That's the real reason I didn't want us to go over to my place for the project. There was never any construction. He would just freak out if I brought a girl home. I'm sorry for... Yeah.
No, it's okay. I understand, but couldn't you just explain that I'm just working on a project with you?
He wouldn't buy it, even if it is the truth. Ever since I told my parents that I'm gay, they don't trust me around any girls. Seriously, they wouldn't let me go to this summer retreat thing in the woods because they heard I would be sleeping in a cabin with other girls.
Oh, that sucks. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It is what it is. And anyway, they haven't been able to stop me completely. I mean, I'm here with you, right?
Lucy looks away from the glittering stars and meets Kayla's eyes again. Somehow, Lucy gets the sense that whatever Kayla was looking for, she's realized it isn't out there. And she feels, just lying there with Kayla on this clear, beautiful night, like she has nothing to lose. It's a terrifying, vulnerable feeling. It's a freeing, wonderful feeling.
Since we're sharing deep secrets, I guess I should mention that I'm a lesbian. Wow, it feels so weird to say that. I mean, I'm not used to coming out to people like formally. I don't think I've ever actually, said those words.
No, it's okay. I understand. It's cool. Thank you for trusting me enough to say that. It means a lot. Okay, listen. This may be the best idea I've ever had, or the worst, but I'm going to show you my soul mark.
Kayla, what? Wait, what are you actually going to? Wait, hold on, think about this.
But that doesn't stop Kayla from rolling up her cuffed jeans, and there, halfway between her ankle and her kneecap, is a small blue star. Everything falls still. The earth itself seems to stop spinning. Lucy knows the star. She's seen it every day in the mirror in the morning. Holy shit. She and Kayla are soulmates.
So, does this tattoo look familiar?
No, I don't. I don't have a tattoo. I don't have a soulmate. I can't.
You know what? Doesn't matter. I honestly don't care who my soulmate is. Whoever she is, I'd give up finding her in a heartbeat if it means I can be with you. You're one of the kindest, sweetest, smartest people I've ever met, and
Kayla, don't say it. Please, just don't say it.
Lucy buries her head in her hands, squeezing her eyes shut, praying with every ounce of her soul that she's dreaming, that she'd imagine this whole thing. But she's not. This is real, and this is happening right now. There's a war in her head between the temptation of the truth and the cost it will come with, between the hope of being able to love Kayla, to share their lives complete and whole and perfect, and the fear of never again being welcome in her family, of losing their love not just because of who she isn't, but because of who she is, between the power of a dream and the weight of reality. There's a war in her head, and she doesn't know which side she's on. All she knows is that no one is winning, and there are no survivors.
But you are. You're amazing, Lucy. From the moment we first met, I think you felt something there too, right? I mean, I've only known you a few weeks, and I trust you. More than I've ever trusted anyone. Don't you feel the same way? Am I reading this wrong?
Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. Lucy has never wanted anything more in her life than she wants to throw her arms around Kayla and tell her that she's not wrong. She's completely right. She's always been right. And she'll always be right for her. But what she wants doesn't matter, does it? Not nearly as much as what she has to be, who she has to be. The war in her head rages, but the balance shifts. Lucy dares to look up into those beautiful eyes, deeper and brighter than all the cosmos, all that ever was.
No, you're not reading this wrong. I feel, but I just can't do this.
Is this because of your parents? I talked with Ana the other day and she told me about how your parents are super strict and controlling and...
Yes, this is about my parents, okay? I really like you and I really want to date you, but I just can't.
Screw your parents! Who cares about what they want? They should love and support you regardless of who you like. That's what parents are supposed to do. You don't owe them anything.
No! That's the whole point. I do owe them. I owe them everything. They immigrated to America for me so I could go and get a good college and get a good job. Everything I have because of them. What kind of daughter am I if I just let them down?
We can hide from our parents. I don't care. You can be everything they want you to be and still be with me. We can wait until we graduate and then we can run away together. Run far where they'll never be able to find us. I'd wait for you, Lucy. I'd wait for the rest of my life because we're meant to be. It's that simple.
It should be. But it's not. I can't do this. I'm sorry.
Lucy picks up her folder and stands, not even looking at Kayla. She has to get out of there, and if she sees Kayla, she knows she's gonna change her mind and give in, and that's the last thing she needs right now. But she can't help herself. Out of the corner of her eye, she catches a glimpse of Kayla's face. She doesn't say anything, but for a moment, she doesn't look away. And Kayla's hopes, so bright and rich with the promise of life, crumble into nothingness. Kayla looks like she's about to say something. Lucy wants her to. She wants her to convince her to stay, tell her to fight for the chance for them to be together, fight for the possibility of a life worth living, fight for love. But the moment passes silently, and Lucy finds the strength to look away.
Good talk. I'll finish the project by myself, and we can just wing the presentation. Bye.
And just like that, it's over. The war is won, the dust settles, but no peace comes with it. Even as Lucy walks away, trying to hold back tears with a false shadow of the confidence she never used to have, she is so ready to hear Kayla call her name and beg her to come back. With each step, she waits, she listens. Nothing comes. No call, no tears, nothing. 5 minutes pass, and there it is at last. Her eyes, burning like twin suns. She does everything she can to snuff out the celestial flame and wipes her cheeks of the searing heat escaping them. She does not succeed, not at first. And even when she finally calms herself and the suns burn away into cold, dead husks, she stops. There's something smeared across her hand. She reaches up to her cheek and feels it laid bare for all the world to see. She's accidentally rubbed off the concealer that covered her soul mark. Which is great. It's just great. Well, she can't think about that now. She picks up her pace, determined to move forward. The only thing she can think of is leaving Kayla behind. And she does. For the rest of high school, Lucy avoided Kayla like the flu. She turned up to astronomy class at the last minute every day, just to keep Kayla from talking to her before class. She knew which routes Kayla took and always went out of her way to avoid those at all costs. In the cafeteria, she made sure to turn her back to Kayla, that girl who had invaded her mind and refused to leave. Presenting the project with Kayla was one of the most awkward experiences of Lucy's life. Lucy hadn't read a single one of Kayla's sympathetic, concerned texts, and so they had to improvise the entire presentation. It flowed so naturally, though, that no one in the room had any idea. They earned a near-perfect grade, and as soon as it was over, Lucy took her seat and refused to even look at Kayla. She spent countless nights staring at the shadows across her ceiling, window shut to keep out the light of the moon and the stars. She spun endless scenarios about how that fateful day on the field could have gone. How had she even let Kayla get so close in the first place? If she said something else, if she had told the truth, if she had stood up for what she wanted, what might have happened? She wondered, but it didn't matter. She had already ruined everything. That was what she thought, at least. Kayla tried to talk to her more than a few times over the next couple of years, and every time Lucy ignored Kayla, no matter how painful it was. She couldn't so much as look into Kayla's eyes. If she did, she was afraid she'd change her mind, give in, and crumble like a dead rock consumed by a resurgent star. Lucy expected Ana to berate her for cutting Kayla out of her life, but Ana understood. That didn't stop her from coming up with plans and motivational speeches to try to convince Lucy that there was still hope. But they were all clearly half-hearted, and anyways, Lucy never would have bought it. She managed to silence those selfish urges in her own head. Blocking them out when they came from Ana was almost too easy. Graduation was the second to last time Lucy had to see Kayla. Nobody was more excited than Lucy. She had been waiting to get out of high school and flee to college, halfway across the country, away from her parents and Kayla. When the principal read her name, she quickly walked across the stage, took her diploma, and returned to her seat. But she'd forgotten that Kayla's last name was just after hers, and as she took her seat, Kayla's name was called. Lucy's mind went blank. Kayla walked across the stage. Lucy watched. With a giant grin on her face, Kayla radiated confidence. The crowds of her friends cheering for her didn't faze her, even if her eyes were darting around a little oddly. Lucy was instantly reminded of why she fell in love with her. She would never meet someone who glowed as brightly as Kayla did. What if she never saw her again? The crowd didn't matter for half a second. The thought made her want to stand up, run to her, ask her for one more chance. But out of the corner of her eye, Lucy saw her mother in the crowd, giving her a proud smile. Kayla left the stage. Lucy let her go. She replayed that specific moment in her head, too, holding on to that last stolen memory. There was just something curious about the way Kayla had seemed up on that stage, and Lucy couldn't help but wonder what it was. It was only human nature, after all. A couple of weeks after the graduation, she realized that Kayla had been looking for someone, probably searching for someone in particular. But she never did find out who Kayla was looking for. Throughout her time at college, Lucy constantly thought about Kayla. In the middle of interminable lectures, she wondered if Kayla was still cracking jokes and making her friends laugh. During late nights, chipping away at mountains of homework, she wondered if Kayla's eyes still glittered whenever she talked passionately about her ideas. And late at night, she tried to fall asleep in her darkened dorm and wondered if Kayla had found somebody new. After all, Kayla told her herself. She didn't care about soulmates. She'd be willing to throw away any chance of finding hers just to be with Lucy. And if she had been willing to do that, she would have done the same for whoever she was with now. Right? The last time Lucy saw Kayla was nearly 10 years after graduation. Lucy had gotten her master's degree in applied mathematics and landed a well-paying job at an accounting firm. She lived alone in a decently sized apartment in New York City. She was not just financially secure, but comfortable. She called her family once every week. To any reasonable person, she would have seemed successful. One day, during her lunch break, she wandered onto the popular website findyoursoulmates.com. It was a new spin on an age-old idea, sharing their soul marks, spreading them to the stars, in the hope that their soulmate would recognize it and come find them. Lucy didn't really know why she clicked on the website. She supposed it was just nice to see people get the happy ending she would never have. She was scrolling through the website idly past several stories of soulmates happily uniting when she saw a picture of a blue star tattoo on someone's leg. It was captioned, "Looking for a female soulmate," with a matching blue star. Lucy's hand instinctively flew up to her cheek. There, instead of the concealer she'd used in her youth, was a blue flower. After Lucy graduated from high school, she convinced her parents to let her cover up her soul mark with a new tattoo. They were reluctant at first, but Lucy assured them that if she ever met her soulmate, she wouldn't need a tattoo to determine it. Of course, she never forgot when she first saw Kayla standing by the astronomy classroom. Lucy scrolled through all the rest of the photos posted by the user. She posted the tattoo every week. Sometimes she shared photos of the planetarium she worked at. Her profile picture displayed her signature charming smile. She seemed happy. Lucy touched the screen of her laptop as if she could just touch her through it. Stunning, phenomenal, perfect Kayla. Out of the blue, Lucy's coworker, Janet, walked over to her, peering over her shoulder. Quickly, Lucy clicked back to the website's homepage.
Oh my god, are you on findyoursoulmate.com? You should post a picture of your soulmate tattoo.
Maybe. I have to get back to work.
Lucy gave Janet a strained smile, and she closed her laptop, grabbed her lunch, and went back to her workstation. She never visited that website again.